Yes. 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 What's up, everybody? It's almost go time. It's time to go. I'm Doggie Diamonds. You know what I do? And if you don't know what I do, you're going to find out what I do today. If it's your first time, make sure you hit that like, that share, that subscribe. All support is appreciated. So without any further ado, I present. I always try to do it on beat, but I don't know why I do that. What's up, everybody? I'm Doggie Diamonds. We got a special guest today. Introduce yourself to the people.
You introduce.
His name is. So hold on. Do we do Red Grant or do we say the full name? What we doing?
I introduce myself.
Right, okay.
Rodney Red Grant.
Rodney Red Grant. And where do they definitely know you from?
Where you know me from?
Hold on. How this turned into an interview that how you end up interviewing me? But what I do know you from being on that stage. I know you from that laugh on the stage. I know you as being a stand-up comedian.
There you go. You know, that's where a lot of people know me from. But also people know me as the candidate that's running for mayor of Washington, D.C., also a philanthropist and humanitarian, also a youth programmer, and I would say a father, a husband, and all out just a good person.
So nationwide, when people see you and they know you for being, you know, the stand up and the funny guy, did you ever fear that people might not take you serious because of your profession?
I don't look at it like that. I mean, there's so many people. I mean, do they take Zelensky serious? He running the whole country now.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, he's the president of Ukraine, who's fighting against Russia right now. He was a stand-up comedian and actor before he became the president of Ukraine. And now he's in the middle of a war. So do they take him serious?
They better.
All right, well, that's all I tell people all the time. I mean, never look at a person's craft or what they do to correlate how they're going to run a city. Now, if you think a person in my position is going to be in that seat and taking it unserious, then you're a fool. And anybody who thinks like that, you know, they should really check their own self. But people try to put you in a box. People try to box you into anything in life. And I always tell people, never box me in. When I was a young man, I used to be a singer, right? I used to be, you know, in choirs. And then I became a football player. And then I became a comedian. And then I became a youth programmer, a coach, you know. So, I've never let anybody box me in. I run my own production company, executive produce, and produce over 25 shows for the Viacom Network. Write for some of the biggest artists in America. Should employ thousands of people, work with millions of dollars in budgets. And, you know, that's all they concentrate on is me telling a joke on stage. And they just understand 7% of my life. So I tell people,
go ahead, finish.
No, I just tell people to research, you know.
Yeah. So you're from DC.
Yeah. From DC, for DC.
So you running for office in DC, mayor to be specific. Was that something when you was younger, did you ever say, I would like to be mayor of my city?
Nah, this wasn't one of my young positions that I took when I was young. I wanted to be an NFL football player.
Well, for what? The Redskins?
Definitely for the Commanders.
Oh yeah. Well, he said the Commanders. Pardon me, I forgot all about that. They was gonna be the Redskins to me. So this is the Joe Theismann days, or this is those days, or Who was the quarterback?
This actually, like when I was growing up, I wanted to be a football player. I went to college. I played football with Shannon Sharp.
Wow. Okay.
Me and Sharp played together, and I just wanted to go. I wanted to go pro, but God always got a plan for you, a different plan. So, you might have a plan, but look, you doing interviews with me right now.
Yeah, I wanted to be a music producer, and I was, and then I was just like, you know what, I like media. Let me get on the other side of it, because if you can control your media, then you can control your career.
Well, media is, I'm big on media. My program, Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Cameras, is one of the biggest youth programs to teach kids about media. I think it's very important for us to give our youth opportunity to know things like this, to know how to operate their own media, because content is key.
Yes. So you're running for office. The opposition, how has that been for you? Like is are people looking at like, okay, yeah, we could do it, or like, are you like too new to it? Like, because I'm pretty sure it's people who probably been there. Like when you run for these offices, there've been people who've been there forever. What's the reception like? Not from the people, from the opposition.
And the opposition gonna be the opposition.
The ops gonna be the ops, right?
they gonna try to get as much information to people to make you look like that you're not capable. But what your job is to let people know how capable you are. I look at it like this, I'm not a politician, I'm a humanitarian.
Gotcha.
A lot of people in the city of Washington, D.C. are individuals that really want change in our city. So it's really the people versus status quo for us. And it's a lot of people, especially with me running as an independent, it's a lot of people who are Democrat with independent thoughts. They're Republican with independent thoughts. They state party and Green Party, statehood party and Green Party with independent thoughts. And I always tell people, keep your party, but keep your thoughts independent. It's super important for us to do that right now, because it's too much party politics going on in the world that forces us to choose sides instead of us working together as one. And I think, God wants us to start communicating and working together as one. And once we do that, we can look at life a little differently, and we can enjoy the pleasantry of community.
Why do you feel like so many of our people, Black people I'm talking about, is politically uneducated? Like, we don't know. We just think we're Democrat because historically we've always been Democrat. So you being independent, some people probably be like, oh, he's not a Democrat. So I normally vote Democratic line. So being that he's not that, I'm not going to vote for him. Why do you think that got pushed on us?
I think, we were Republicans for a long time, and in real life, we were Republicans. After slavery, we were Republicans. And then it got to a certain point where I would call it the Dixie Party came involved, and they switched to becoming Republicans. And that's where we felt like we had to get away from more of the prejudice that was going on in our society. And, and it's terrible how African Americans have been treated in this world that we live in, and had to choose between another party. And most of the time that don't even benefit them at all. No, we run to a party, but we still be in the same situation. We lack of education, lack of equity, unaffordable housing, public safety is terrible. Homelessness at its highest in ever.
Yes.
And we sit back and and we run into a party that we should be running to ideals. What is good for us, ideally? Who is going to really have our back? So, when we run as an independent, I represent the people. I'm a nonpartisan individual. A lot of people don't know what independent means. They like, oh, that must be another party. No, independent means I'm nonpartisan. I don't have a party. I want to work with the whole core of the problem. And it's a big problem. There's a lot of big problems going on out here in society. And somebody got to be able to step up and be able to really cross over all lines to be able to make these issues work for everybody.
So when you win the mayor seat, what is the duty of a mayor? Because I have no idea.
The duty of a mayor in Washington, D.C. and most cities is to run the city services.
Okay.
The city has services that help the citizens of that city. Mm-hmm. And in D.C., it's a service for every problem that goes on, mm-hmm. from drug addiction, homelessness, to just being able to take care of your kids, social services, police department, fire department. Then we have a whole realm of education, and DC is so many services here to help people. And it's about allocating the funds, not only the funds, creating the budgets, and also allowing people to connect with these services that help them out. And that's pretty much the mayor's job, to make sure that you keep the morale of a city going for all of the people who live in the city, because there's so many things that's happening in the city on a daily basis. And you got to be a mayor that's fair.
Mm-hmm. So again, I believe, well, I know because myself in certain instances, we have been trained because of our history to be anti-government. We not voting. We listen, man, I don't care who it is. They the motto, man, they selected, they not elected. They already put in office, already determined. What can you say to our people to tell them, no, you might think that on a high level, but on this level, mayor, city council, you have to vote, because it's very, very important what's going on in your community. Your vote does change what happens in your community. What can you say to them to get them to understand why voting is important?
I mean, you said it perfect. Like, it's more important on these local levels, mm-hmm. because it directly affects you, mm-hmm. as a citizen, as a resident. DC, unfortunately, 275,000 people who could have voted the last mayoral election did not vote. Mm. And maybe 160,000 voted. Mm. So you got 275,000 people who didn't vote because of whatever reason. But I tell those individuals that those 275,000 people who did not vote are some of the most powerful people in our city, just like the 161,000 people who voted. So they made the change, and the other ones did. And they picked the people that they want to work for them and help their matters out. Because it matters in everything you do in a city. And you gotta care about what matters in your community. Mm-hmm. You gotta care about the future of your kids' education. You gotta care about the future of your city in general. And if I would tell people all the time, don't take on that spirit, I don't want to vote because it don't matter. It do matter. And you can elect people who care about what goes on with you and what goes on for the future of your kids and the future of your community. So let's get away from that. Let's show up, especially in DC, November 8th. I need y'all to go to the polls and push that grant button. I need y'all to grant that wish. I need y'all to grant it now and let our city change, let our city become, because they're going to push the button.
Yeah.
And then we'll sit back and be like, man, it don't matter.
It's messed up, yeah, but you had a choice.
Yeah, but you have a choice. Mm-hmm. You have a vote.
So
everybody has one.
For a lot of dudes in the hood, could you clarify this for me? Can judges be voted out?
Judges cannot be voted out, but they can be. See, judges get appointed, right?
Okay.
So judges get appointed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to get a judge off the bench. They really have to do certain things.
Red, I'm wrong. Wrong question. Could district attorneys?
Okay, yeah, that's a difference.
That's what I'm. Yeah, I'm wrong. Red. Could district attorneys get voted out?
Yes, district attorneys can.
And
because judges, it's hard to.
Yeah, that was the wrong question because I was thinking about something in Brooklyn. I remember doing petitions for somebody. And on this party line, they had a DA, and they was like, "Nah, this DA locked up a lot of my homies. I'm not voting for this. I'm not signing this petition because of the party line." So that's why I wanted to know.
Right.
So district attorneys can be voted out.
Yes. You got a charger.
So that's why it's important to vote. Because if you don't like the DA, you can vote him out, and a lot of people don't know that, that's why I was saying that, because a lot of dudes, in the hood say the DA this, the DA that. Well, you could change the DA if you don't want the DA to be, so you got to go down.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can, the DA, all that comes under voting rights.
Yes.
And you can vote for who you feel like should be that person representing you.
So, in your city, you had a lot of infamous mayors. What's your first order operation if you had one?
You can pull it, brother. First order operation.
Mm-hmm.
I would say public safety, youth programming,
mm-hmm.
Because they go hand in hand to me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when our youngins or our young people are running around murdering one another,
mm-hmm.
is not only a public safety issue, it's a youth programming issue.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when you take programs out of the schools, you take programs out of the community, when you take trades out of the school, you directly affect the future of our youth. So we all grow up to be grown-ups, but if you help the youth out early to stay away from the BS, then you deal with a public safety issue.
So the thing would be to implement more trades.
Definitely. And immediately. Trades going back in schools immediately.
And rec centers.
Rec centers.
After school programs.
After school programming. Mm-hmm. Programs that are innovative, that we can place in our school systems.
Could you get home economics back in there?
Yeah, economics.
Home ec was important, man.
Yeah, they had shop.
Yeah, shop and home ec was important.
Yeah, and these things make you think,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You build it, even if it's building a doghouse, right?
Yeah.
As a class. I mean, that's just something that, it gives you the energy to say, damn, this is deep. I'm using my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But, some of our kids don't even take book bags to school.
Yeah. What's deep too? Imagine if you put a studio in the school. And they had to make positive, conscious hip hop.
Man, come on. That's the innovative thinking that we have to think. We have to do things.
And you got to have certain grades.
Yes.
You got to have certain grades to use the studio. They would go to school all the time. They would be in school. So this is why y'all should vote for this man. This is some of the things. Go ahead.
These are policies. Me and you are right now creating policies
mm-hmm.
that affect our youth, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are innovative policies.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that word policies a lot, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But these are innovative policies. We can't be 1984. We can't be 1977, 99. We're living in 2022 right now,
mm-hmm.
right? Our kids are thinking a whole different place and in a whole different way. We have the internet that's super strong. We have social media that's banging. And for them, this is how they live.
Mm-hmm.
So why not put positivity within that program so they learn positivity. They, this is, or they want to go to school. They want to show up. Because if we don't, we're going to have a serious problem on our hands. And it's close to a serious problem right now.
How bad is the drugs plague the city? The drug usage?
Well, drug use is, and it's crazy because I went to a drug rehab center today, and we were talking with some folks, ex-drug users, that's been clean, and just talking about how they've taken certain programs out of the community, even for people on drugs, right? And you never think you're going to become a drug addict when you become a drug addict. But once you're there, how do you get off drugs? And does anybody care that you get off drugs?
Yeah.
And it's a problem not only in my city, but in a lot of cities around America. We have drugs that, like fentanyl, we got that will kill you. We have heroin, cocaine. People say weed is not a drug, but if you use it too much, you're not doing no function.
You're an addict. You're an addict.
Yeah, you're an addict. And we have to really deal with the problems that, and it's bigger than just the drugs. It's like, what are they trying to mask from the use of drugs? So now we're dealing with the mental issues of what they've been through when they was growing up. What you're trying to hide, or what you're trying to just take away, the pain. What pain are you dealing with? So, I always speak on programming because we have to have these, again, services that the mayor runs, that the mayor is obligated, that in the power of their hands, to push these programs. Now it becomes education. Now it becomes awareness. How do I make people aware that these programs exist to get you help? So, we have to be able to implement these, the education of what's going on in the major cities around America. We're losing a lot of brothers and sisters, and that's of all colors, to drugs.
So I wanted to ask you, what are some of the, I know you got what's the name of the children's program that you have? And tell them some of the other programs and groups and foundations that you've been a part of, because I don't want people to think that one day you just woke up and say, yo, you know what? I'm going to run for mayor. I haven't done anything in my community. I'm not a part of my community. So for those who know, remind them. And for those who don't know, that might see you for the first time and say, hey, I live in DC. I didn't know. Let them know some of the things that you're a part of.
Well, it's funny that you said that. So I was at a brunch today, and I was speaking to a constituent, and she says to me, well, you didn't run for ANC. You haven't never been an ANC. You never been a councilman, but you want to run for mayor? And I tell them all the time that, ANC deals with about 2,000 individuals in their community. I've been dealing with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, not only in my community, but around the country, like on a level that you have no, understanding of. Like, this is what I do. My job is to help people. That's what a humanitarian does. That's what a philanthropist does. But my youth programming, Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Cameras, has helped a lot of youth in our communities. I would say it's the number one youth programming program in the country. They learn how to make films, their own films from beginning to end. They write the films, they shoot the films, they edit the films, and it all comes from their brain. And we're very proud of that. It's been showcased on Good Morning America, CNN, CBS Evening News, CBS Germany. And just to see a young man or young woman come in who might have an attitude problem, and now they looking at life different. Like they want to be a director, they want to be a producer. You know, that in itself should shake your spirit as a human, right? And I just started a new program called Beyond Your Block. And that's basically taking our youth off their block to explore different things. Because I just felt like me as a young person, when I got off my block and I started learning about, even when I went to New York for the first time, right? And I lived there, that was just a change for me. When I went to California or I went to Europe, and I even if it was going to Six Flags or King's Dominion or, you know, different places, I felt like I was getting culture. And I think sometimes our kids get so stalemated to their block that they don't have the culture that they need to be successful because they only have one way of looking at things. And you have to be exposed to more than one thing. You have to be exposed to many things in life that will help you grow, not only culturally, but spiritually and mentally. And, you know, I'm very proud of the programs that I started. I'm very proud of the kids that I help. I'm very proud of this community and so many programs that work every day that are on the front line to help our youth grow. And it's very important. If you're not a volunteer, become one. If you're not a youth programmer, start a youth program. Go find 5 kids. You know, that's what it's about.
So with the off the block thing, would you take them on trips or you take them to cities? What do you do exactly?
Well, what we just did, we started a pilot program. We started a program, first one, we took them to Audi Stadium in D.C., the soccer stadium. That was the first one we did. And you can see their faces looking at that field like, I don't know if
soccer fields is huge. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Even if the soccer field, football field, any of that, you know, just to be in a big stadium of 80,000 people, you like, oh man, this is what it looked like. And what we did was that day, we did vision boards. We had everybody create a vision board, had magazines and different stickers for people to create their own vision boards so the kids could show what their visions are, what they like in life. And a lot of them was just like, I've never done this before. This is so cool. Now I see where I want to go and what I want to be. And I'm glad you guys showed us how to bring out our visions in life. Because that's what we go through every day, me and you. You have a vision of this YouTube channel, you know, and it became something that you're doing on a regular. You know, that's a vision, you know. You know, when you say no filter, you mean no filter.
Yeah, facts.
You know, so these are visions that we all have, and we got to push for our youth to expound on their visions, you know?
Yes, and very important. The youth is very, very important because the first person that gets to them has the biggest influence over them.
Yes, sir.
So debates. Is it like battle rap? Like what is a debate like? Have you been in many debates yet?
All right, so I'm doing my first debate next Wednesday.
Okay.
And I tell people I don't think they want to make it like a battle rap because my skill level is like on a whole nother level when it comes to that.
Got you.
But I've seen them go at each other. And I prepare myself for the positive side and try to take the high road. But if I get attacked, I will let people know that I do have information on everybody, all my opponents.
That's called a rebuttal in battle rap. You know, rebuttal mid-round. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I have studied you. I know everything about you, and if we want to make it a personal situation, then we'll make it personal. But I pretty much want to stick to the key form of policies and the real things that's going on. Because there's just too much already politicians going at each other. And like I said, I'm not no politician. I'm going to let them do what they do. But I'm going to keep it true to the people and I'm going to represent the people properly. I think Obama showed us that very well when he always took the high ground, even when they try to go low.
So is it like a format of questions of how does it work? Yeah, tell us how the debates work.
Well, they basically send you questions to, or what, some of the questions that might be asked. A lot of policy questions, a lot of community questions, questions from residents in the city. And they want to see how you can expound on it. What's your take on it? What's your view? Me and you will have a forum right now. This is a debate forum without me debating against anybody. And it's basically, what's your views on the situation? So, I mean, I haven't been in many debates, but I am preparing myself as we speak. My team, as we speak, are in there working right now for our debate that's coming up.
A lot of people from our communities, and based off what's been happening in the past few years, very, very concerned about and very afraid of police. How could you ensure the people that some of the concerns that they might have with the police department, as the new mayor, you're definitely going to make sure that the police and the people will become one again?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's an important question. A lot of people try to duck that question. I think we need our community to be a community again. And I think that the police should understand that it's not to terrorize the community, it's to be a part of the community, to help the community deal with public safety. If you are going around robbing people, killing people, causing havoc in the community, then you should be dealt with. But they should not be, pinpointing out because you're African American standing out on the corner that you are a bad part of our community. And I think what happens is the culture of the police have to be dealt with. It's a culture thing. It's just like any other culture. And you got some bad apples in there. You got some great apples in there. And we need to weed out the bad apples and get the culture of the police department back together. We need to get them out their squad cars. They need to be walking around the community. They need to be a part of the cleanup days. They need to be a part of the wrecks. They need to be a part of everything that's going on. I need to know your name. Who are you? You need to know my name. We need to know each other.
That's community.
That's community. And right now, we don't have that. Right now, we got a lot of people riding around in cars, and they getting calls and they jumping out. And my wife is an ex-police officer. She just retired. It was one of the most paranoid jobs. Well, not for her, but for me as a husband.
Yes.
You feel me? So for her to come home every day, and she used to tell me about what she had to deal with on a regular basis. And as a woman, being a police officer, that was rough. And especially my woman being a police officer, because they hold a lot in, they go through a lot. But I like the way she dealt with things. She was a part of the Police Activity League Power Program. She was very decorated for helping the youth. She was one of the coaches. She was a coach. She got in the community and really became a part of the community where they respected her. And I think we need more officers like that. People who are respected in our communities, become a part of the community, not just go to work, never say nothing to anybody unless they just terrorizing. Let's build not only our community, but a community within law enforcement that we all are effectively protecting our community. We need to have more. We used to have orange hats when I was growing up. People who used to walk around the community that was a part of the community that helped police the community, help the community get police. And it was citizens. It wasn't no one who was sworn in or anything. So I want to bring back that aspect of policing, where we police ourselves also in our own community.
So when we're dealing with the police officers, that unfortunately goes to the jail and the prison system. What are some of the things that need to be cleaned up? Is that part of your job too with the prison? Because a lot of us know about the prison industrial complex. We feel it's a trap. You get trapped here, you get trapped. How do you clean up the prisons?
I think, well, I'm speaking on DC.
Okay.
DC prison system right now. DC has a jail, right? It's a DC jail. It really needs to be cleaned up, like in real life, cleaning of it.
Literally, like mopping, like Fabuloso cleanup.
Everything, mice, rats, all of that.
Wow.
Just like make it a humane place to be. Because we're part of a federal system in DC. So if you get convicted, you go federal in DC. It's not, you got Rikers Island or anything like that. You go federal. You leave the DC jail and you go fed. But my job is to try to keep youngins from even getting in that situation in the prison system. And, when people come home from prison, to have an opportunity to get back into society and have a job, have a place to live, be respected in the community. Again, they did their time, and and hopefully have them get involved where they speak to some of the youngins and let them know what they should not be doing and what how not to get themselves in that same position. That's what I want to do. I want to work with people who come home and let's talk to the youngest. Let's talk to the kids so they won't get in that position. Because we all make mistakes in life.
Yeah.
Some affected a little bit more than others, but there's no one that's perfect out here. So we need to be working together to try to get ourselves in a position where we are a community and we are protecting one another.
Okay, I just got like two more. So my thing is also, I wanted to ask you about housing in the communities. How bad is the housing out there?
It's I would say DC might be the most expensive city per capita that you would ever want to live in, right? And it wasn't always like that. So it's a lot of unaffordable unaffordable living in DC, where it's hard for people to live, like to afford to live here. We have to change that. We have to put caps on taxing, on taxes when it comes to houses. When you become a senior, you should not have to pay those taxes. Because it's so hard to keep up with your taxes and you don't have a job.
You're on a fixed income. You're on a fixed income.
Yeah, you're on a fixed income. These are the things that need to happen to make affordable housing. We need to also make the banks, do checks and balances. So these developers who are developing these condos, these big high rises, they make it affordable for people to live there. They have to have a certain amount of units that set aside for affordable housing. Everybody can't pay $4,500, $3,500, $2,500, $1,500. Some people need help, but they want to live nice too. So we need to really make it not only affordable, but make it fair out here. In society, where we won't have the homeless problem that we have right now.
What about public housing?
Public housing in DC they tearing down all the public housing.
Wow. So where are the people going?
That's what I'm saying. When you tear it down, they move you out and they promise you, they give you vouchers, they give you this to move different places. but they promise that you can move back when they rebuild in something else, but they're not allowing that to happen.
Yeah, right.
So that's why when I say checks and balances on these developers, make them live up to what they say they was going to do, or they get that super hefty fine. That fine that you really don't want, that affects you. And that's what a mayor does.
So one of the things that plagues a lot of communities, and this is based off the answer you just gave, has been all around the country, has been gentrification. Most of the cities that, in DC has been historically a black city. But a lot of people are being displaced based off of what you said. They're tearing down the public housing and they're making the housing unaffordable for the average. If you're single, you're in trouble. You almost got to just date somebody just so y'all can make ends meet nowadays.
Right.
How does the mayor step in and stop a lot of that from happening with the gentrification?
Well, in our city case, they were selling our city away for $1 to these developers.
Wow. Well, literally $1?
Yeah.
4 quarters? 10 dimes?
And, yeah. And, taxing, getting it on the back end from taxes. But look how many individuals you could have sold certain land to for that same dollar and had them develop too, housing and affordable living. So when it comes to gentrification, it is definitely a planned out situation. DC still is 49% African American, and it's still one of the biggest. It's not 77% like it was, but I still think it's an opportunity for everybody to be fair and, understand that never kick out natives, never, kick out the culture that has been built. It's almost like New Orleans. You never want to take away the Mardi Gras. You never want to take away certain things because that builds the flavor of that city. The food, the culture, the people. And, if we're going to say we're going to learn to live together, under God's eyes, as, in a fair situation and equal opportunities, then if 2022 should be the year that we really look at ourselves and say, look, all of the segregation that has been implemented in our brains has to go. All of the racism has to go. All of the separatism has to go. And we have to get more diverse, more inclusion, and more equity in our communities, amongst everybody. And we have to have fair opportunities for all, no matter who you are, no matter what you are, and no matter what you believe in. And once we have that mindset of love, care, and respect in any cities, not only just DC, then we'll be working toward the proper goals of where we should be as a nation.
Got you. So everybody, this is Red Grant, November 8th?
Yep, November 8th.
So you're going to have your first debate. He's going to go up there. He's going to be like...
April 27th, you can tune into the League of Women Voters. DC is lwvdc.org. And you can see my first forum debate. I also tell people to go to grantformayordc.com and become a volunteer. Donate to the campaign. We're an independent campaign. So we work off of individual donations from the people. We are the people. We are funded by the people. And we just ask everybody to, even if it's just $1, send it over. We appreciate it.
And on the website, they'll be able to find all literature about you, everything that they need to know about.
Yeah, everything, grantformayordc.com. And they can register to vote. We're trying to register 100,000 new voters. And that's the key to life, register new votors.
And so you have the voter registration forms on there?
On the page, yeah.
So say the website one more time.
grantformayordc.com.
So November 8th. But so how does that work though? Before we go, is it like there's no primary thing or nothing like that? Because I always think it's something before the vote. It is.
All right, so the Democrats going through a primary in June.
Okay.
And then when that primary is over, I know who I'm facing.
So regardless, you're in.
Yes, I'm in the general.
Because you're independent, but they have to fight each other to see who's in there. Yes. So being that you run the independent, that's kind of smart. That's it's an uphill battle, but it's smart. So I want to thank you for coming through. Hopefully after your debate, I want to watch and see how it goes, and then we could just talk a little bit more, because I want the people to feel comfortable with you. And I also want them to know that you're not the mayor for black. You're not trying to be the mayor for black people. You're trying to be the mayor for you weren't trying to be the mayor for DC.
I'm just trying to be the mayor that helps people. Yeah. Like, everybody is going through something in life, but we have to make it fair for all people.
Makes sense.
And a lot of times, when you dealing in the systems that we have set up, sometimes the funds are not allocated properly to the people who need it the most. And we have to have that happen.
One thing before I go, this is very, very, very important. The people always say the government didn't do this, didn't do that. Do the people have to ask? Because I think a lot of times, like Obama get a lot of this criticism that Obama didn't do nothing for us. Is it a thing where the people have to ask? Does the government not know what you need if you don't ask? You understand what I'm saying? I
think the government knows about everything that's not happening for the people. I think they hear it every day. They have lobbyists, they have constituents, they have so many different things that give them the information of what's going on, and not only your local, in your city, but also national. So it's about really putting the right energy, the right people in place that care like you care, that's going to really get it done to the best of their ability and fight for the people of our country, of our cities, and fight for them every day. This is a fight every day. You have to fight for the people who need it the most. And you have to fight for all people, because everybody has something that they have a gripe about in America. And somebody got to fight for them.
Makes sense. So yes, November 8th, make sure you go out to the polls. He'll be back before November 8th, but make sure y'all go to the polls, vote independent. So there's no running mate thing, right? Like, this ain't like president, right? It's just you, right? Do you pick like a new lieutenant mayor? Like, how does that work again? Like,
you pick a deputy mayor,
deputy, lieutenant governor. Okay.
You pick all of that.
Got you. All right, so this is Red Grant, y'all. He'll be back before it's time, but I just wanted to give y'all a little introduction to him on my platform. I thank you for joining me today. Any social media that they should follow?
Just follow me on IG, Red Grant. Follow me on Twitter, Red Grant Laughs. On Facebook, Red Grants. On YouTube, Red Grant. Yeah. So I'm a Red Grant head.
Yeah, he's Red Grant. So the website will be in the description box. Also the first pinned video. If you're not a registered voter, you could go there and register to vote. If you don't know how to, I'm pretty sure all instructions will be there. So I want to thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Peace.
I know.
Yes, that was Red Grant. Sounds, he wants to be fair. So for people in the DC area, see what's up. Go down there, vote. Can't one change if you don't change, right? So with that, I'm Doggie Diamonds, man. Until next time. Peace.